Ready to go live? Yes, I am going live. Oh my God, it's Friday. And oh my God, this has been sat here for 5 days. Now, do you understand the pain that I'm going through? I hope you feel a severe amount of empathy for the pain that I'm going through, knowing that this new gin looks all very pretty, seems like it's got a nice story, lots going on, hasn't been in my mouth yet. So now this is my moment, like Martine McCutcheon would say. Hello everybody, happy Friday. My name is Kate. If we haven't met before, where have you been for a year and a half? What have you been doing? We have got a very special, do you know what, I've only met him for like 12 seconds. He looks quite interesting, folks. Don't tell him I said that, but there's a lot happening here. There's like sound equipment, it's like environments, there's a lot going on. So if you watch on replay, put #replay, tell us, because you'll want to catch this. We'll stream it live on Intergin and all of the places, doing all of the things. And this is Intergin's February box of the month. Can you tell I'm excited? I feel a bit like overwhelmed in some weird way. Breathe, Kate. It's absolutely fine. Just pour a gin and tonic and relax. Okay. So I feel like let's just introduce Duncan. So this is Duncan. Duncan has audio equipment in his ears. Like, I feel like, are you like managing some sort of production? Oh, Duncan's on mute. Duncan's on mute. Let me unmute. Unmute.
There we go. Hi.
What's going on? Tell us what.
So currently I'm sat in the bar of the Young Vic Theatre because I'm in the middle of with my other hat on. So I'm a designer in theatre, and we are in the middle of teching a show. So we're rehearsing all the technical elements of a show, basically.
I feel like I'm taking, I'm quite happy with it, like I'm stealing you away from people needing you right now. And as much as we need you, it feels like you're like, okay, well, you're doing it, are you rehearsing, or is there people on stage doing it?
So we're just on our dinner break at the moment, hence a good time to have a gin whilst working. But that's standard in our industry, so it's fine. Basically, yeah, we are just doing all the actors have been in the rehearsal room for the past 4 weeks, and at this stage for this week we put everything together. So we bring all the technical elements, and then we just get together in the theatre and put it all together. So it's a show at the Young Vic called The Collaboration, and yeah.
How exciting! So are you here? Is this where this is?
So no. So the story behind the label is a bit of it's just a stupid in-joke, if anything, because we started making the gin when we weren't technically fully legal. Our tagline was "Distill behind the scenes in London," and one thing was if HMRC were ever to find us, it'd be hard to track us down. So the theatre is actually up in Glasgow. The plan that's on the so that's the Theatre Royal in Glasgow.
Get it. So do you travel around then? Right, wait a minute, I've got to get into this.
Yeah, sorry, it's maybe a thicker coat of wax on your top. This, you can tell, all waxed by hand, as it were.
I'm eating half of
it. It gives you a nice texture.
It is. So tell us, in your dinner break, tell us about, who are you? Tell us who you are, where this came from, and I'm going to try it.
So basically, myself, I've been working in theatre since I was 18, film and TV, and essentially when the pandemic struck, we lost all of our work. So essentially we bought the equipment about 5 years ago, and then about 2 weeks into lockdown, we decided that it was time to finally get all the equipment out of the loft and start making some gin. So we washed it all off and gave it a bit of a clean, and we started making stuff. And then basically for about 6 months, it was just a bit of a hobby. So we had no other work to do. So let's just, crack on making some gin. And then it got to Christmas 2020, and it was sort of apparent that nothing was kind of reopening. So we decided to go fully legal. Then by February 21, we were fully legal, fully in the eyes of Her Majesty, ready to trade. And then in about a month, we won our first bronze award at the International Spirits Challenge. Last month, we won a silver at the World Gin Awards. Stickers arriving soon, hopefully. Yeah, so it's kind of, for us, it's just going from strength to strength. We're now stocked in about 30 places around the country. We partnered with a theatre charity, so £1 from every bottle goes to them. And we are also stocked in various theatres. So like the bar we're in here at the Young Vic, we're their gin of choice here, and a few other theatres. So yeah, it's good. Yeah, we're even not. I've got the menu here. We're even on their menu listed, which is a very kind of wonderful achievement, as it were.
So tell us, so I'm going to drink it. Tell us about the gin. What's in it? Is that what you're drinking?
So yeah, I annoyingly had to go bloody pay for it. I had to pay for it. Yeah, I know, terrible, absolutely terrible. So
What have you got? What's it like?
So I'm a citruses, lime in particular is just always one of them. Lime and pink grapefruit are massive. Love those flavourings. So we use fresh fruit in the compound. Thank you very much.
That is, you can drink that neat, and that has got a very nice warm mouth feel, and I can feel it warming my mouth but not burning my throat. Very, very nice. So sorry, carry on.
That's right. So we use the fresh fruit. So unlike all the dry botanicals, we've got fresh lime, pink grapefruit, and orange in there. And what that's doing is basically we put that into the body of the still. And so you're going to get that massive citrus hit at the start. It's going to be so fresh because when we start distilling, it comes out straight away at this really high percentage, and you get a big fresh hit. We take the peel of each fruit, and that goes in the infusion basket. And so what you're doing with that is getting then all the lighter tones on the nose. So that's that big citrus hit. And then because we just thought it would be funny to do it, we then threw in some cinnamon and some cloves and the warmth and some grains of paradise.
Yes, paradise. Yes.
And so what that's doing is at the end giving you this kind of peppery, spicy, warming feeling, at the end. Yeah.
So that's what I'm loving. I love a citrus gin, and that's great, and that's lovely. But yours is a gin lover's citrus gin because it's got like lots going on. So you get your citrus bit, but then it's not like left there as citrusy. It's got lots of the cinnamon and the clove and the grains of paradise that I really do. Like I like a citrus, but I really hold on to like the warming bit. It feels like it's a part A and a part B, and it mixed together.
Exactly, yeah. So it was just our way of like making a gin that wasn't just like, your one defining flavour profile. And even though you taste the juniper, because there's one thing we did as well is that we were so fed up of drinking a gin and tonic where you basically end up tasting the tonic. Now, this is a brand that I wouldn't usually go for. This is we partnered with a South African brand called Mulberry Creek because we did a big blind tasting about all these different tonics and trying to see which one would come out best. And I think there are just certain tonics out there of the rather larger names which you taste their tonic and you don't taste your gin. And so for us it was about going, even if you were to have one of the bigger brands, could you still taste our gin? And so what we've done is, this is where it all gets a bit nerdy and geeky, but essentially per 100 litres of spirit that you're making, we add 4 times the amount of botanicals in terms of quantity. So not as in like we have 14 botanicals, but we have, instead of say 100 grams of botanicals, we're adding 400 grams. So what you're doing, and because we allow it to steep for 24 hours as well, you're getting even more of that flavour coming through. And so it's about making a gin where you can go, I can drink it straight, I can drink it with tonic, and you'll still, whatever tonic it is, you will still taste the gin. And that's really important.
Were you gin obsessive before? I mean, or is this like, lockdown struck and we're going to buy a spirit and let's start drinking gin? Or is gin been your thing? You said you've had kit for 5 years, right? So gin.
Yeah. I've got about 100 gins at home, I'd say, but above that, whiskey is actually my passion. I've got about 400 whiskies, and I own 4 casks, I think. So for me, plus and then our little bit of green room is that we have started making and experimenting to make our own whiskey. But the amount of time and energy and space you need to do it, at the moment we've only made 1 5-litre cask, and that was a lot of effort just in itself. So yeah.
So is that so that's going to take you a while, right? 3 years?
Was 3, yeah. I mean, well, the one cask we made is only 5 litres, so it was ready after a year. But obviously, you can't officially call it, especially you can't call it Scotland. Well, not in Scotland anyway. We're in Wandsworth. But for us, it was just I love whiskey, and I wanted to prove to myself, could I make a whiskey? And we did. So I was like, great, it's really good. And if you come down, so we actually run a supper club. So alongside all of this, a friend of mine who's a theatre producer, or was a theatre, she became a wine consultant, and we met in April of this year after lockdown 3, 4, whatever the hell it was, and we were talking about all the different licenses and all the crap you've got to go through with, you know, I've had like 6 hours of meetings with HMRC, the police, the fire brigade, the council, the food, you know, all in my house because...
you're making a bomb according to everybody, the HMRC.
Yeah.
And
and the distillery is basically what used to be my design studio. Right. So it's at the bottom of my garden. It's about 5 by 3, 5 by 4 meters, so it's not big at all. But obviously everyone had to come in and assess it. We had to do, you know, there's like a fire exit sign for one door. I mean, you know, and the door is like a bifold door. Anyway, so, you know, our big thing was, you know, everything being made there and all the licenses. So when I met with Libby, we were talking about all of this, and she went, "Oh my God, you know, we should run a supper club because essentially the house has a 24-hour license, and I am the landlord of my own house." It's so ridiculous. So so once every month we have 12 people around the table, and we start off with a gin cocktail, which is one of the ones that's listed on our website. 5-course wine paired meal, and then there's a whiskey tasting at the end. And that's once every month. Our next one's beginning of March, then we've got another one for St. Patrick's Day. We did a Burns Night special. We had a piper in the garden with, if you look on our Instagram, there's reels of it and everything. And so it's not just now just the gin, it's the gin, which we want to have the whiskey, we have the supper club, and it's becoming a whole thing. Yeah.
It's a whole experience. So, and as Tina has just commented, Sip and Share road trip. So where are you? How many people can you accommodate?
So Wandsworth, southwest London.
Yeah.
And for the supper club, it's 12 people around one table, and we have this amazing Michelin-trained chef, Josh Dalloway, who comes in, just cooks the most incredible. So when on our last one, one of the guests came up to Josh in the kitchen, was like, "So where's the other kitchen? Where's the prep kit?" And he was like, "No, I do it all here. You know, surrounded by my daughter's like lady, you know, water cups and everything, and food." And he's just there making the most incredible stuff. Like for Burns Night, he made all of the haggis from scratch himself. You know, and it was the most. You know, if you like that kind of thing, which I adore. It was just everything he produces is incredible.
So I can guarantee you that I will be able to pull together through no hardship 11 people plus me, and we would absolutely love to book in and come and have that experience.
Yeah, but what's been brilliant is that we have the first Thursday of every month, but people have had their birthday, so we've had other nights where people book in, and you know they're booking birthday parties and corporate stuff. And then we cater the menu and also the cocktails around them. So if they're like, "Oh, we really like this base cocktail," so we use the green room, gin, and then make a new cocktail because of it. You know, for Burns Night, we made an Iron Brew cocktail because I love Iron Brew. So, and if I ever was to do a sponsorship deal, it would be with them. So I basically made a reduction of Iron Brew and an Iron Brew liqueur, combined it with our gin. A bit of Angostura bitters. Oh my God. Anyway, it's on the website as well, if you can be asked to make your own Iron Brew liqueur.
Yeah, well,
there's actually
have a look for Iron Brew to start with, right? So,
yeah. There was actually a brilliant Ribble gin, I think they're called, Ribble Craft something. Anyway, they make an Iron Brew liqueur, which you can buy on their website as well. So just to give them a shout out, they're brilliant.
Stages. So we talked about the whiskey, and we've got this gin. So when did this be launched? When was this one launched?
So technically February of last year. Yeah. So that's our kind of signature gin, okay. and then we have our Flyman strength, which is 57%. Yeah. So it's our Navy strength expression. So obviously brilliant cocktails, something like a gimlet. 60 ml of the Flyman's, 20 ml of roses, lime cordial, shake for 20 seconds. I think it's one of the most simple, best cocktails. Like as a starter to a night, it's just great and so simple to do. I think that's one of the big things with cocktails, that everyone thinks, oh my god, they're just so complicated. Now I need to prep, and now I know I talk about the Iron Brew being complicated. But yes, but in there, if you look at the Odette, we've got, so all of our cocktails are named after theatre pieces, and it's got all the instructions with how to make it. And that cocktail, just start of a night, if you've got tons of guests, you can make 3 or 4 of those in your shaker at the same time. Chilled martini style glasses or Nicanora glasses, they're really lovely as well. Yeah.
Well, do you know what? Next week I'm at a hen do with 40 women who I've never met, and I'm responsible, unsurprisingly, for the gin and the cocktail reception on Thursday evening before the chef arrives. So when this arrived on Monday, I was like, that's bloody handy, isn't it? Although I don't really want to share this, to be honest, so I'm going to have to think it through about what products are taking with me. But yeah, this is a great. The cocktails are your thing then. Cocktails
so that's the thing. Alongside all of this malarkey in the background, I've always had a massive appreciation. I think it's my dad and my whole family at an early age. There was this kind of, because drinking, I think, does command respect, and you can have so many situations where it's just abused, and we obviously all know that sort of thing. But I think if from an early age you're taught this is good alcohol and this is a good way to drink it and to be enjoyed, and I think even your name, it's like it is to be shared. And one of my biggest things, and a lot of people even ask me about the whiskey side of things, and I'm extremely generous when it comes to like when friends come round, everything is open. I hate it when you go around someone's, they're like, oh, saving that for best. So here's the fucking Gordons, and you're like, yeah. You go, no. We had a woman last week at the Supper Club. She was like, oh, I really want to try this whiskey. I was like, absolutely great, and it was closed. And she was like, oh no, please don't open it, please don't. I'm like, why? What's the point? It was there to be drunk. So you open it. She's like, oh no, please don't do it. And you're like, no, all of this is here and ready to be drunk. And I think that's, when you're sat there with friends or even people you don't know, and you're like, and you can have this bond over it. And so whether it's cocktails, gin tonics, a whiskey, just to be able to share it with people in that way is such a wonderful thing.
You are absolutely preaching to the converted. This is my vibe entirely, and I'm going to say that we've got to err on the side of caution, because I know for a fact that when they approach me, these 11 other humans, who are very much aligned to the chair, that will you saying, try it, it's open. This is like at my house when they come here, I'm like, yeah, just put what you want and shake it from the inside, right? And I'm like,
our big thing is, because we technically have the 24-hour license, and luckily the neighbours don't mind too much. I think the latest someone's left is 5 in the morning on one of our Supper Club nights. So we always announce that at the beginning of the night, and then you'll see who tries to challenge it. So we always take the next day off work.
I was going to say it's a breakfast club then. Tina is asking, you in the theatre? Which theatre are you in, Jonathan?
So I am in the Young Vic Theatre on the South Bank of London. And the show we're doing is a thing called The Collaboration. So it stars Paul Bettany and Jeremy Hope. So they play Andy Warhol and Jean-Michel Basquiat, and it's basically this meeting of the two of them if they were to when they collaborated on various sets of artwork back in the 80s. So I'm designing all the projection for that side of
things. I'm in London in a couple of weeks for the weekend, so I will.
Well, let me know, and come on down.
Come and suss it out. So, do you have any plans? So you've got the Supper Club down incredibly busy, which I like. In addition to the green, you've got your navy sweat. What are your thoughts on others, or flavoured, or what's your take on how you?
So we have a vodka, which we've always made as well, just because Seb, who I run the distillery with, he's a huge vodka fan, so it was always. But in all honesty, as much as we try and push it, it's people just aren't drinking vodka in the same way. So for us, like here, stocks our vodka, but 99 times out of 100, it's used in cocktails, and that's it. And nearly every place we stock, and we shift cases of the stuff every week. But if you sort of would say to some random in the street, do you want to buy gin or vodka? They're always going to buy gin. So we have our vodka, and we produce that purely as just to help money come in, even though it's a right bunker to make. Whereas we also, like just for Christmas, we had a slow gin. So that was obviously steeping for quite a few months, and we made the year before we made 30 bottles. And those sold quickly, and we're like, all right, how much? We did 120 litres last, so it's what, 240 bottles, and that sold out instantly. So we were like, oh, balls. So we're now having to prep, obviously, for the slow gin for this year. In terms of flavoured gins, it's not my thing. I'm very much both in having my friends very much a traditionalist in life. Just in terms of how I feel stuff should be made, and I have so much respect. I think it comes from the whiskey element of having so much respect for those processes. And I think some people are doing some really interesting things, but all with looking back to what came before us, and with a little nod. And then there are just elements where I'm like, you're just making a drink for a drink's sake. You're calling it gin because gin was its base. I'm not the biggest fan. Whereas, something like, I really want to do an Old Tom. So that's something we're looking into. And I know it's not a big seller, and I know people are going to be like, oh, what's Old Tom? And there are all these debates about what Old Tom is. Is it sweeter? Is it not? Is it more juniper? Is it not? No one, I realise there are distilleries out there who are like, no, this is exactly what it is. So for us, it's just, that would be our next thing I think we do. And just sort of see, I think it's about expanding. And we're very fortunate to be in some quite lovely places. We're in a few Michelin-style restaurants now in Southwest London as well. And it's just about growing from strength to strength. But as I say, I think an Old Tom will be our next.
All right, so someone has just asked, Navy Spencer, tell us a bit about your Navy Spencer. Is it same flavour profile as
So basically we wanted to make something, and this was from talking to various friends who work in bars. I just want to make something that was very similar to this, but that one you could still have straight at 57%. And I know I'm very used to like 80, like when it comes off the still, it's about 87, 88. And I'm just straight in. I'm like, this is great. Whereas, so I wanted to make something you could drink straight, but it still tasted like our gin. But for bartenders, it felt like you weren't mixing it down in cocktails. So we used the same botanicals, slightly different ratios, just because although we're taking the gin off at the same cuts, when you dilute it, you're losing rest bits without getting too geeky. So so for us it's just it sounds boring, so you're literally going, it's roughly the same, it's just less diluted. But it was just about making a gin that still tasted like our gin, that you can put into cocktails and just have, and go, that's a Green Room gin, not just like, oh, that's that. It's like, so the Odette that's in there, I'd recommend making with the Flymans, because you're just going to, and also 57%, it's a great, like, actually has a kick, because when we've been going to a lot of places, and even like the signature gin at 42%, they're going, we're so fed up of gins coming in at, either 37.5 or 40%. Just once you get a 42 and a bit, like we 42 was both a, being very honest, a kind of monetary thing versus taste, because, every percent Her Majesty gets another 40 pence.
Absolutely.
And when you're a small distiller, we only produce 40 bottles at a time of our signature. Yeah. But this is the thing, it's about kind of, because we're only producing those levels, we've got to be very, and we don't want to be like, we're £50 a bottle, which I know some places are, if not more. But we want to basically make a gin that's not going to break the bank, that's going to be really tasty, and yeah, that's where we kind of got to. But yeah, the Navy Strength was very much. I was desperate to make one, and I think we've done okay.
So, Duncan, I'm going to put you on the spot and say, how do you feel about getting your gins on Sip and Share and maybe a cocktail live one night with making?
That would be great. Yeah, I'll show you how to make the iron brew reduction. I mean, that takes about 4 hours, so it'll be a really long, boring show. I'll do like a Blue Peter. Here's one I made earlier. But no, I'd love to. Yeah, that would be great because as we can go through some of the cocktails on the leaflet, and yeah, absolutely.
And then we will also get a date, because everything I do at Sip and Share is purely selfish. It's purely what I want to do. And this is I look right. I recommend that too. I think it's got in cost. In fact, it is a cost. We will communicate and make a plan.
Can't wait. Well, if anyone wants to book, it's number9supperclub.com, and you can just go and book. You can book it there, and all the information's there as well. And yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to get a group event together. I know we are. So let's leave you. Go back to your job. Go back.
I know. I'm meant to be back in 5 minutes, so I'll go and grab a sandwich and head back. No one needs to know how to do it, so it's fine.
But anyway, thank you for your time. It was so nice to meet you. You're so passionate and it's infectious. And I'm really excited about. I'll get in contact with you about your Navy Strength and expect we'll sort out some.
Perfect. Great.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks, everyone. See you later.
See you later, everybody. Bye. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.